Okay, good evening. Um, a couple of minutes late because I've been trying to get connected via OBS. It's been very frustrating. Very cumbersome, and I'm not figuring out how to do it properly. I'm thinking that if I could get that working, it may fix the audio issue that we've been facing. But we'll hope for the best. I'm in the end I give up and I just connected old school. So let me know in the chat if there's any problem with the audio. Last two times it died on us. Okay, so we'll start. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Okay, I've decided what I'm going to do for this talk is I'll because the last two cut off at some point in the middle, I'm going to combine them because they're very closely related anyway, and deal with the fetters of desire for becoming in the form realm and desire for becoming in the formless realm. What we're talking about in this series are the 10 samyojana or fetters. This is a special list of defilements that are the which bind to samsara, meaning liberation, and they're overcome in a specific order related to the 4 stages of enlightenment. We're now dealing with the higher or deeper fetters. These are the 5 that remain even for the anagami. And the anagami, this non-returner, is one who has attained to the 3rd stage of enlightenment and is just short of being a fully enlightened arahant. But it remains to them, they're not perfect yet. They haven't eliminated all defilements. There remain the 5 higher defilements. Now, already at the previous stage, the stage of sakadagami, once returner, the defilement of sensual desire has been eliminated. And when we say that this desire, the defilement is eliminated by the stage of sakadagami, that means it's completely eradicated. There's no trace of it remaining. So a sakadagami is not subject to sense desire. The impulse does not even occur in their stream of consciousness. So this means that this means that there's the impulse to be reborn for an anagami who's overcome these, who's left these defilements behind. The impulse to be reborn in a sense plane, either human or deva, is removed. There is no more impulse or karmic force left to produce such a birth. But they have not overcome the defilement of desire for becoming. We have in the formula for the second noble truth that the cause of suffering is desire. Desire is defined as tanha, and there are 3 kinds of tanha. There's desire for the desire for being and the desire for not being. Bhava tanha, vibhava tanha. Now for the ordinary person in the world, the defilement of desire for sensuality is the noisiest. It's the most demanding on the psyche, but it's actually relatively superficial compared to the desire for being and not being. These are underlying level of the mind, and are much more deeply rooted. The desire for not being, vibhava tanha, would be associated with ill will. So that's also overcome by the Sakadagami. But so this remains a productive defilement, their desire for becoming in the form realm or the formless realm. um, these are terms in from the cosmology, that there are different levels, or bhumis or planes, that Pali is bhumi, of existence. There is the sense experience level, kama bhumi, which is where humans and devas and also lower realms like animals and hell beings exist. It's a very broad and diverse realm of existence. And beings at this level, their psyche revolves around the five physical senses, sensation and escape from unpleasant thought, objects of the sense. They revolve around objects of sense. But this desire, as we said, is eliminated in the anagami. So there, the second level in the cosmological sequence is the rupa bhumi. This is the level of the Brahma gods. And it's called the realm of form, just to distinguish it from the formless realm above it. But the realm of form is the realm of the Brahma gods, who have transcended sensuality, but are still subject to various defilements such as false view and pride and arrogance. The Brahma worlds are the psychic equivalent of jhana states. So they're also divided into four levels, equivalent to the four jhanas. Here, the Sudavasa level of the Rupa Bhumi. Sudavasa is the pure abodes, and I think this is the original seed for the Pure Land teachings, that there's this special realm where enlightened beings go, and they abide there for some time, a short time or a long time, maybe a very long time, measured in kappas. And when they pass away from there, they're not reborn anymore. They become arahants. They may also feel a craving for the immaterial realm. The immaterial realm is the formless existence, arupa. And this is equivalent to the higher or formless jhanas, the four states of boundless space, boundless consciousness, nothingness, and neither perception nor non-perception. The beings that are reborn into this realm are sometimes called four aggregate beings, because they have the four mental aggregates, but they do not have physical form. They don't have rupa. They don't have a body. So they're pure mind only, without body. So there's some interesting consequences of being immaterial. We can't say that they have a place or a location. It doesn't apply, because location or in space is a product of physicality. It references a physical dimension. So we can't say they're here, there, anywhere, or nowhere. Spatial location doesn't apply. And when we talk, it's also when we say boundless, boundless space, boundless consciousness, it's apamana. It's not really exactly the same meaning as infinite. It just means you can't make a boundary to it. So I've heard some speculation by uh, some monks that the second one, boundless consciousness, that experience may be the one recognized in the Upanishads as universal mind. In any case, how this applies to the samyojana is when the desire for sense experience has expired and there remains the desire for becoming, it can only be in one of these two realms. It's not possible for an anagami who has no trace of any karmic impulse left that would generate in in the human realm to it. So these are the two first of this set of five that are usually called the higher fetters, though I think a better name would be the deeper fetters. They're fetters that are present in all beings, but they're not evident or obvious to beings who haven't attained to a state of enlightenment because they're sort of drowned out by the noise of sense desire, but they're there underneath. Okay, so I think I'll stop while the going's good, and we've gotten through the main points, and the audio seems to have held up. So I'll stay on as long as there's a few questions from the chat, and as long as the audio holds out. Trying to get this YouTube interface is very unforgiving. Okay, nobody's typing anything at the moment, but there's a question standing. I find it interesting that when in a near-death situation, one reviews one's entire life. Is attaining the Nirvana like a greater death since one can review then all previous lives? Well, this was the case for the Buddha. That was one of his experiences on his enlightenment night, was seeing all his previous lives. I've not seen that suggested for other arahants. So not necessarily so. Do you have any advice on dealing with subtle thoughts during samatha? They seem to happen on their own, but can sometimes interfere with my capacity to enter jhana. That's issue. First of all, recognize that there will remain some thought formation even in first jhana. It's only really transcended with second jhana. But it should be very quiet. You talk about subtle thoughts. The best advice I can give is you have to work on the skill of non-attention. Don't be concerned about these thoughts. Let them dissipate in the background of your mind. Don't pay any attention to them. Don't feed them any energy. That way they're not really going to hinder you. They'll only become really take any interest in then you're. But if you let them just kind of peter in and out of the back of your mind, they shouldn't be a problem. That skill of non-attention is sometimes difficult for people to get a handle on. There's a tendency for the mind to want to go towards the thoughts, but if you just disregard them. then they'll gradually fade away. Next one, does the Sotapanna have atasanya? Uh, Atasanya would be perception of self. And yes, we are going to deal with that in one of the other fetters is asmi mana, which is the perception of self. And that does still remain a self perception. The idea of self overcome by the stream winner is Sakaya Ditti, is at the level of cognition or view, but there still remains a subtler form of self-identification at the level of perception, and we're going to deal with that in a subsequent talk. Will a Pacheka Buddha bow to an Arahant or vice versa? I don't think it's necessarily one way or the other. The act of bowing is it's a formal ritual act, and in the sangha, it has nothing to do with state of attainment. It has to do only with seniority. So, if the Arahant was a bhikkhu and the Pacheka Buddha was not, then he wouldn't bow to him. But also, also another idea that just occurred to me. The question is kind of hypothetical because, according to the definitions, Pacheka Buddhas and Arahants don't exist in the world at the same time. Pacheka Buddhas only arise between Buddhas and dispensations, and Arahants only arise when there's a Buddha teaching in the world. So the situation would not come up. No, I'll check out. Someone wants to, someone's that requesting a teaching on Pacheka Buddha lore. Yeah, I could do that. Would be interesting. I could do that sometime. Someone else is asking. Let me expand. I can't read that. Last time when you explained about the brokenness of samsara, the video became still. Could you repeat that? Okay, in brief, one way that we can explain samsara is that, explain the quality of dukkha, let's say, is that dukkha can be understood as a imperfection, a brokenness, the emptiness, the void, perfection, because it's existent, or say infinite potential. But as soon as there's some reality, discrete reality manifested, then that perfection is broken, and what we have in existence are like broken shards. They're incomplete. They can never be perfect because they've lost the infinite potential of emptiness. So I'm going to next week. I'm going to miss one of these because I'll be traveling. I'm going to get some teaching in Alberta. But it'll just be the 1 week, and I'll be back again in the subsequent week, and we'll finish up this series. So looks like looks like the sound held out to the end there. Goodbye, all.